Hello everyone and welcome to my first guide here on They Are Billions, which is a new RTS game in early access on Steam. We're using version 0.0.5.2, just in case you're tuning into this a little down the road. Some things may change. It is in early access and they are updating it pretty frequently. This game has a pretty high skill ceiling. Seems pretty simple at first. It's just a survival mode. But there's a lot going on here, and as of this recording, there isn't really a great tutorial in the game on how to get started, especially. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just giving you some tips that have made me better at this game as I've played it. I'm by no means an expert, but these things should get you up and running in no time. First of all, we're going to go to the new survival game. And these are all difficulty options, with the exception of this. I don't think this changes difficulty, but maybe it does. My suggestion, and this is what we're going to play on, is starting out on the easiest settings. You're not going to get a very good score, but you're not going to also get discouraged when you get trampled by your first horde of zombies either. So we're gonna do this just to get started, and as you feel more comfortable, you can start increasing these things. You can go up to accessible, and then increase the infected population and things like that. And this increases your score factor here, which allows you to unlock these things faster. So you need to beat a game with a 20% score factor in order to unlock this next area. But like I said, we're starting on 150 days easy and just a few infected easiest. So there's a few things that you want to focus on right away, and that's doing a little bit of exploration, but also getting your population up, so you can start building things to gather food and stone and things like that. So every game you start with your command center, and you start with 5 troops, 4 rangers, and 1 soldier. The soldier's slow and does a little bit more damage. He has a rifle, and the rangers are bow units, and they have they move faster and have a little bit. They're like your scout class, but they're also really good at defending your town. So we're just going to do a little exploration, and what we're aiming for here is to kind of figure out where our choke points are, because that's where we're going to want to build walls to protect our colony. I kind of move them all in one group in case I come across some zombies. I don't want to lose one of them by accident. So we'll start building some houses as well. Tents, just to start building our population up. So down here you see you have your colonists, that's your total population. You have your workers, that's the number of people that you have in your colony that are able to perform jobs basically. And you need workers to stave buildings that produce resources for you. Then you have your food production, and you have your energy production. Those are the 4 things that are they're not really resources you collect. They're things that you need to build basically in order to keep those numbers up. These gold, wood, stone, iron, and oil are resources that you actually collect by building buildings and harvesting them basically. Gold is earned primarily by how many colonists you have. It's kind of like you're taxing your colonists for living here. Wood is earned by building sawmills, which will build one by these trees. You got to build sawmills by trees. And you're kind of, with this grid, you're kind of looking to get as many trees in the green grid as possible, the light green grid there. You can't build it here because the center of the tiles, the 4 squares there, that's where the building is actually going to occupy. and then the radius, the light green radius, is where it can gather resources from. I'm just going to build it here. That's not great. 10 really isn't that great, but it's the best we can do right now. And that'll require that requires 4 workers, 4 energy, and 300 gold to build. So you'll see here, we should probably build a wall here to bridge between this cliff and this body of water, and then maybe we'll build a wall here between these trees and this body of water, or actually maybe these trees and this body of water. So what you're looking to do is kind of wall your village in, because this is a 100% defensive game. You can build an army and go out and attack groups of zombies, but it's early on, especially, it's kind of a little bit of a waste. You can find resources out in the wild, but it's best to keep your few soldiers alive as long as possible while you generate some resources to build up your settlement. And then, like, so zombies can't pass through cliffs, they can't pass through water, and they can't pass through trees. Neither can your units either. So using those as natural defenses is a really good idea. We're going to build a hunter's cottage, which, actually no, let's build a fisherman cottage and put it in this pool of water over here. So you can see the fisherman cottage needs to be placed next to water, and you're doing the same thing you did with the sawmill, trying to get as many units of food available as possible. So we're going to put it right there. 14 is pretty good. And we'll build some more houses while we're at it. I'm out of it. So the tents, which give you, like I said, more population and workers, that requires 4 food, 1 energy, and 30 gold. So right now I'm a little low on food. I can't build any more until this fisherman cottage is built.
Attention. Building completed.
So now we'll build a couple more. I'm gonna put this couple of units here, a couple of units here, and then this guy over here, just to make sure I don't get any wandering zombies into my village, because they will just wander in and cause some trouble early on. So the goal here is to survive as long as you possibly can. The mode we chose was 150 days, which is quite a while. The easier the difficulty, the longer the match is. But what that means is the hordes of zombies that get triggered at certain time periods throughout the match, they take longer to show up. So say if, like, on day 10 on the long version of the game you get your first horde, on the shorter version of the game that horde may arrive on day 3 or 4. So you just, basically, the easier the game mode is, the longer you have to build up your village before you start getting attacked by hordes. And you can see the days down in the bottom left here next to the mini-map. What our main goal here is to build this, your early goal, I should say, is to build this wood workshop in order to get access to farms, which are a very, very important source of food. And it looks like we're pretty much there right now, so I think I'm going to go straight for that. Just want to make sure you place it in a good spot. As I said before, it's a defensive game, so you want to balance consolidating all of your buildings in a small area versus making it too crowded. Because, like, I don't want to build anything out beyond this area here right now. This is going to be a big wall here. and so was this over here. Or maybe I'll just go here and here or something like that. We'll figure it out once we get out there a little bit. So yeah, you want to kind of consolidate things, or else you're going to just have buildings way too far out that you're not going to be able to defend, especially early on. And one building getting attacked by zombies can spell the end for the entire village, because what happens is, if say like one of these tents gets attacked by a zombie and it gets infected, everybody who lives in that tent is also going to get infected. So one zombie attacking that tent could turn into 5 zombies if they infect the tent and everybody gets infected, and then it just kind of spreads throughout your village and you're pretty much screwed. So you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Now if you see when I go to build something, there's this light grid around here. That's the limit that I can build things at this point. In order to expand that, I need to build these Tesla towers, which are under the energy button. And what these do is just they allow your energy to go a little bit farther out beyond your colony center there. So I'm going to start building out this way. But now my wood workshop my wood workshop is finished, and what I'm going to do first immediately is I'm going to research farms. So this wood workshop, there's a stone workshop, there's an iron workshop. These are the places where you research your technologies to make more buildings and improve the buildings you already have. I'm gonna research farms. 400 gold to research farms. My Tesla tower's built, which is good, but I think I'm gonna go one more out, just to give me some wiggle room here. Could go here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go right here, and then I'll build a wall. I'll start building a wall here, just to protect myself on that front anyway. While I'm at it, I'll start expanding out this way too. And, you know, as you play, you'll learn how you want to place your buildings. I like being pretty organized with it. I like keeping all of my houses in a limited area, so I can focus on protecting them if we do get attacked, and also it allows me to upgrade them quicker, because once I research better housing, I can upgrade these tents into buildings that hold more units. So I'm like maximizing my space, so to speak, and keeping them all in one place. What that does is means I'm not gonna miss one out in the middle of if my city gets big and I start placing houses at random places, I may miss one when I'm doing my upgrades, and I don't want to do that. What am I? I'm out of something. The building is blocking a free access to another building. Okay. Alright. So now we got farms. We researched that. We're going to start researching something else. Market, stone workshop, sniper, great ballista. Great ballistas are important. They're very strong. They're very powerful at taking out groups of enemies and focusing fire on powerful enemies. I'm going to start here with researching cottages. That's going to allow me to convert these tents into cottages. Okay, so here's another big part of the game. Once you reach certain population milestones, you're going to have to elect a mayor. And it's always 2 options, and they always come with some distinct distinct bonuses that are listed below the character portrait. things like for instance, if I choose this, I'm gonna get a mill for free. A mill generates electricity, which is pretty cool. Here, if I choose her, I'm gonna get a Tesla tower for free, which are those buildings that expand my energy influence. Tesla towers, they're pretty easy to make. They don't cost too much, but a mill is a little bit better. These two options actually really aren't that great, either of them. Sometimes you'll get really good bonuses, like access to a unit that you would normally only get like way down the road, or a free technology research, something that you would normally have to spend money on, you get for free. So it varies, and they're pretty random. So I'm gonna choose the mill, even though, like I said, it's not that great of a bonus, but it's better than the other bonus. And then when you choose that, and it's something that you can actually place or use, it's going to show up here in this little treasure chest. So I'll do this. I'll choose the mill, and I'll put the mill, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll put the mill right here. And that's going to give me electricity, more energy production down here. Okay, what are we gonna work on here? We gotta make some farms. This is why. So I remember when I put this Fisherman Cottage, it only gave me 14 food, which was pretty good, but it's really not a whole lot in the long run. Farms, on the other hand, farms can provide up to like 60 food with one placement. I don't know if I'm gonna get one of those placements here, but we'll see. You can only place farms on these green pasture areas. You can't place them on this brown, like matted mud or whatever. And the more squares that you can get in this green pasture, the more food you get. So for instance, if I place it here, I can get 42 food, which is pretty good. 46 if I place it closer to the, or 52 if I place it there. That's probably where I'm gonna put it. But if you see, if I go like way out here, I can't do that because, well, for one, it doesn't have access to electricity, but it's also in this matted mud shit over here. But if I start creeping it into the green area, you can see, oh, it starts going up. So I'm going to stick the farm right here. That's going to provide me with 52 food. That one building is going to provide me with like 3-4 times as much as this Fisherman Cottage, which is pretty great. That's why the farms are like the #1 thing you want to research right off the bat, so you're not wasting resources and space on like this Fisherman Cottage, and there's also the Hunter Cottage, which should place next to wooded areas, because I guess the idea is that there's animals living in the woods, and that's a better place to put a Hunter Cottage. Oh, we're not going to use one of those because it's kind of a waste at this point now that we got farms. Alright, so my farm's built. I'm going to start researching the Great Ballista, and I'm going to upgrade some of these tents. The upgrades do cost resources. So to upgrade one of these tents to a cottage, I need 4 food, 2 energy, 12 wood, and 90 gold. I'm going to just do 2 of them right now. And then I'm going to start building walls down here. So there's walls, there's gates, and there's towers. Right now I only have access to wood, but later on I'll be able to research stone towers and upgrade these wood walls to stone walls, which are much more powerful. And you can double up your walls, which is what you should do. You can go up to 3 walls thick. It's a little sketchy on how it calculates the walls in certain directions when you're placing them, so you're just gonna have to kind of work with the system. I don't know if it's gonna get better as they update. But sometimes it seems like it tells me that I can't build a wall because I already got too many, when I really shouldn't be told that. The other thing with walls and gates and stuff is, I don't have enough wood to show you right now. I'm just gonna move this ranger up here in case somebody starts attacking. Move her over there.
Tell me.
You are gonna pay me for this, right?
I want to show you this gate as soon as I can. Alright, so the gates, one problem with the gates is you only have 2 orientations. You can use tab to rotate the gate. You can rotate it, you can have it go this way, you can have it go this way. You can't have it go, horizontally, which is a problem with this wall that I'm building here because that's the orientation that this wall is, so I can't put a gate here. I could if I wanted to, like, kind of like make a snaky wall, like put a gate here and then have it go straight and then a gate and then straight, but I'm just gonna skip it. Maybe I'll rework that later on, but right now I'm just looking to kind of wall off my village so I don't have to worry about zombies coming from this way and attacking me. I could definitely use another wood workshop. Wood production's a little low. So, when you're placing new buildings, you can use the same like group of resources as long as your new building's influence radius isn't overlapping with another similar building. So if I move this up too far here, it's going to tell me I can't build it because let's see, there's already a building. You can see in the red down there at the bottom, there's already a building getting resources from that same area. So I just have to move it far enough away that I don't get that message. Looks like 11's gonna be, 12. Alright, that's pretty good. So we'll build another one of those and we'll get more wood. You just saw there that the game does autosave periodically, but it's also, it's kind of like a roguelike, in a sense that once your village gets overrun, it's over. It pretty much, it deletes that game. You don't have a chance to go back and replay from an earlier part in the match. Once your village is destroyed, you have to start a whole new game. So what the autosave feature does is allow you to quit in the middle of a game and pick it back up, but it doesn't allow you to like save scum and go back to an earlier save and replay a village that got destroyed. The other thing that could be important once your village gets real big or you're getting attacked is you can pause whenever you want. You got the play and pause button down here. And this can allow you to just pause it for a minute, take a look at what's going on, go around and collect units if you want to fortify a wall or something like that. So if like this wall was getting attacked by a bunch of zombies, I could pause it, I could select all these units and tell them to move all the way down here, and then unpause, and that'll trigger the command so I'm not wasting time like going around clicking one at a time or something like that. I don't use it too often, but it is a nice feature to have. What else can we research while we're at it? Let's research the sniper. Sniper's very powerful unit that shoots slow and walks really slow too, but they're great at, you know, taking zombies out in like one shot, except for the bigger zombies. So I want to expand out here. It's it's not great. But we'll do it anyway. We'll go here. You can definitely overthink some of the placement on some of this stuff. I'm gonna go. What do have I got here? There's a forest and water. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get this iron. Basically, this is stone. This tan, lighter colored stuff. This darker stuff is iron.
Building completed.
And then this steam coming out of here, that's an oil deposit, which doesn't come in until way later in the game. And you build, actually I should start making stone. You build quarries next to these things, except for the oil. You need a special building for that we don't have access to yet. But quarries are what mine these resources. I'm gonna put one there to get some stone. And I'm gonna build another Tesla tower here. I'm gonna move this guy up. Like I said, what happens early on here is you don't have the walls up. Like a zombie could just wander in here and start attacking this tower, and that wouldn't be too big of a deal because it's pretty far away. But if it happens down here, like if it gets this tower kind of straggling out here, that could be a big problem, because then it's going to send a whole bunch of zombies in the middle of my town. So we actually got a pretty, seems like anyway, pretty good map here. You always start in the middle of the map, and it's always a randomly generated map. And what happens is sometimes you get a really crappy map. You're either really confined with your space, like you get placed right next to a cliff and a bunch of water, and you can't really do a whole lot without expanding. Or you get placed next to a zombie village, because there are villages out here like that have been taken over by the zombies. I didn't see any in the general vicinity on this map, but I'm sure there's at least one or two out there. If you get placed like really close next to one of those, you're gonna be in trouble, because they're just going to keep coming from that village and attacking you over and over again. Alright, I'm going to move him up here. I'm going to set her on a patrol going here and here. So early on, the patrols are pretty useful to cover multiple flanks. And I also should think about building a barracks here. Which is down in here, but I need 8 workers and I need 20 stone. So I need to upgrade some stuff. I need to get some more workers. So I'm gonna build the wall out here-ish. I'm gonna grab this stone deposit. That's a pretty good spot for it. Let's see. I need more workers. So you'd think early on that first thing you want to build is a barracks, and that's not necessarily true, because you start with quite a few military units anyway, and if you use them intelligently without losing them early on and stuff like that, you can do a pretty good job defending your base early on without worrying about making more. So I'm going to build a gate here. That way I can get out here if I want to at some point. There really isn't a whole lot of reasons to keep going in and out of a base. Usually I put the gates in only if I think at some point during the match I may want to expand here. It just makes it easier to get units out. So what'll happen is periodically a zombie will wander up to the wall and start attacking it, and you'll get a warning. It says they're attacking the colony defenses, and it'll highlight where it is down on the mini map down here. And then you just want to check it out, make sure there isn't a bunch of them, or you have a soldier there to protect the wall. And then what will happen is if they do attack the wall and they cause damage to it, or if they cause damage to any building, this button will show up down here, which is repair all. You just can click that and it'll automatically repair any damaged structures that need to be repaired, which is a pretty neat tool that makes repairing things a heck of a lot easier. So the next defensive thing you want to start thinking about is where you want to place your towers. Towers they have good line of sight, and they allow you to garrison up to 4 units in them to give them a little bit of extra range and a little bit of extra firepower. You want to use them, you obviously put them next to your walls to defend against any invaders. So I'm gonna put a wood tower here and a wood tower here. That way I can get like 8 units here at some point and protect this in case I get attacked. So there's another attack down here, not that big of a deal. And I'm leaving a space. I could put another tower here, but what I'm actually gonna put here is gonna be a ballista tower when I have the resources to do so. That way, I can really defend this if I need to, and that's kind of the strategy where am I being attacked?
They are trying to break through.
Oh, up here.
Just tell me what to do.
Let's move him up here. Put him in the tower. He'll be able to take that guy out. So what was I talking about? Oh, defending. Usually my go-to defense is a few towers, as many towers as I can fit, and a ballista tower. If it's a big long wall, I put a couple ballista towers. That seems to work pretty well, especially for the early waves. And then you can start fortifying things that you think are maybe a little bit too weak. My next move is going to be to expand up to here so I can build a wall here. That's gonna be a little while though. I'm gonna have to build a few towers in order to get that far out. Here. I also need to build some walls here, I guess.
Dozens of infected are near the colony. They are approaching from the north.
So this is when the waves come. It'll tell you I have 6 hours to prepare, and they're coming from the north, so they're going to be coming down this way. Presumably, they're going to come and attack this wall. I hope so. I hope they don't come around this way, because that would suck. Because I don't have any defenses there right now. But I am, just in case, I'm going to build a couple of quick towers here. Shit, there. You can see on the map, you got this little arrow coming in, and it'll turn into a evil skull. That's showing you where they're coming from. So they're coming from this direction, and that's not very good. Maybe I should build some walls real quick as well. Walls are pretty cheap, which is good. So I'm gonna take her. I'm gonna bring her over here. I'm gonna stop her from patrolling. Bring her up here as well. Her here. Yeah, it looks like they are going to attack this way, so I'm glad I built those walls.
Commander?
So the first wave's really not that serious. Usually, anyway.
Are there other units to bother?
Alright, it's not.
Attention. Building completed.
Okay. That wasn't that big of a deal. I'm probably over prepared for that. I've been playing on the higher difficulty levels, so I was expecting a little bit more with that, but that wasn't too serious at all. And like I said, the higher difficulty levels, they will, like that horde would have been bigger at a higher difficulty level, that's for sure. And really, the game's all about getting to a point that you feel comfortable, that you can be like, I can routinely beat the game, beat a match at this skill level. So now I will increase the skill level and kind of start over, you know, start fresh and start over. We're gonna end this tutorial.
They are attacking the colony defenses.
With me finishing up walling off my village here, because that's the first thing you want to do. That's like the main thing. So to Garrison, you just select the unit and you right click in it, and like I said, you can get up to 4 units inside of a single tower. Once I have snipers, I will put snipers there. Snipers in the towers are very good. That's the best place for them. I'm actually going. Well, I might keep that there for a minute. I'm gonna destroy these walls. I think you get some resources back from Yeah, 50% of your original resources are returned when you destroy something. So you aren't losing it completely, but it's still, you don't want to, you know, go wasting too much.
Do you need me?
Also, resource deposits. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Resource deposits are infinite. So like this stone will never run out. My villagers will never chop down this entire forest. So you don't have to worry about that, which is a good thing. So here I should probably plan on building 2 ballista towers. So I'm gonna build 2 wood towers there. Then I'll put a ballista tower here and a ballista tower here. Once I get to that point, I could probably build one right now. Actually, yeah, I got enough. So ballista towers are great ballista, as they're called. 2 workers, 2 energy, 20 wood, and 500 gold. So I'm gonna put my first one here. And you can see that how big of a radius this thing can cover, which is pretty good. Just keep in mind that it does cover in a 360-degree radius, as you can see. So even if zombies do get through here, can still attack them once it gets past the wall, if it gets to that point. So I'll build that there. I think I'll build another one. This covers pretty much everything with this one, so I'll build it there. Basically, it's just a big bow launcher. It launches a huge arrow, and it's good at taking out stronger units. It'll take them out quicker than regular soldiers and rangers. And it will also take out groups of like hordes of zombies. Like you'll see when it shoots into a crowd of zombies, it just takes out a whole bunch of them. It's a very important piece of defensive technique, I guess you would say. So once I wall this off, I'll be completely walled off, which is the goal. Let's go one more. I'll build a gate here. Alright. So yeah, early on, wood's pretty important. Food's always important, which is why I can't stress the importance of getting that farm research. I'm actually going to build another one. Oh, I need some energy. Okay, this is good. So I got that mill for free when my mayor was elected, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing to get early on, even though there are better things to get. But what I want to do now is I want to build a another mill because I need to. My energy is really low. I'm trying to decide. So this is actually a good example of a hole you can kind of dig yourself into. I'm not there yet, I don't think. But what can happen is because you need workers to man any of these buildings, you can kind of get yourself into a quagmire where you may not have enough workers to build something to give you more energy. But you can't build more tents because you don't have enough energy to do so until you get more workers to build a new thing to generate energy. Or the same situation with food. Like, you need people to farm, but you also need food in order to build tents. So you want to make sure you're ahead of the game as much as possible and keeping an eye on your overall resources to make sure you don't get stuck in a situation where you have to like start destroying buildings in order to get more workers in order to build the things you need. So right now I'm not in that situation. I have plenty of food to build tents. Of course, don't forget the tents also use energy. So I'll build a tent there, and that should give me enough workers in order to build my mill so I can generate more electricity. As you progress and you research more technologies, you're going to be able to get access to things that provide you with more energy. For instance, there's a power plant that you can build later on in the game that provides you with a ton of energy in one go. But also, as you upgrade buildings and you make new buildings, you'll find that higher level buildings also need more energy just to be built. So it kind of balances itself out in a lot of ways. So I'm going to build another mill, and you'll see this is one of these buildings that can't be built within the vicinity of another one of its type. So this type of building must be separated by at least 4 tiles. So we're gonna have to. We can't just build a huge cluster of mills, for instance, which would be kind of cool, but we can't do that. So we got to find another place for it. Let's I try to not to build as much as I can on this green area so I can use it for farms later on. Let's see, where can we put this? We can put it. Let's put it here.
They are trying to break through.
I'm gonna attack down here, but she took care of it. No big deal. So, we are completely walled off. Nothing can get through without first hitting a wall. And we have some sort of soldier at every wall to make sure that something just doesn't slowly pick away at it. So we're at a pretty good spot. Once this is built, I'm going to build a barracks. As long as I have enough. I think I'm going to need more workers. Yeah, I'm going to need a lot more workers. So I need 8 workers. Let's upgrade some of these. Oh, I need another farm. This is what I'm talking about. It's a never-ending. Like, you want to build this? Well, you got to build this first. You got to build this first. You got to build this first.
Attention. Building completed.
So 64. That's a very good place for a farm. Let's build it. I think 64 is the most you can get from a farm. Once that's done, we will upgrade some of these houses and hopefully get up to 8 workers, and then we'll build the barracks, and then you can see what the barracks costs, and then that's where we'll end this this particular video, because this is a good starting spot.
Attention. Building completed.
And it took us about 45 minutes to get here. So, you know, when I'm not talking and going through everything step by step, it goes a little bit faster, and the quicker you can get up to this point and start working on your next step forward is always good. You know, the quicker you get to the next steps is the best thing. Build the barracks here. You can do things like you can build multiple barracks if you want. I usually don't, just because there's enough time in between, at least early on, there's enough time between hordes that you don't have to really keep pushing units out. You can kind of let them trickle out of the barracks. But if you had two barracks, you can, you know, create multiple units at once. But soldiers are expensive. They definitely require gold, and they also require workers, which is the biggest resource, because you need workers to do basically anything in the game. So you're never going to be at a point where you're just pumping out soldiers at a rapid rate, unless you really focus on building a whole bunch of housing early on. So this isn't like other RTSs where you may have like a population cap, and that's the only thing limiting you. That and, like, you know, food and gold and stuff like that, limiting you to how quickly you can push out soldiers. The biggest limiter here is the workers. So if we click here right now, I can only make a ranger. It requires 1 worker, 2 wood, and 120 gold. But if I build an iron quarry, I can start mining iron, and I can start to build soldiers, which require 2 iron as well as food, gold, and workers. And then I can, if snipers also need iron. So we'll make a couple of soldiers, we'll make a couple of rangers, and then we'll call it a day. You can right click where you want the rally point to be. Oops, this guy is attacking down here. So basically, I'm going to build a tower here.
My bow and arrows are ready.
And here. I think this is another area where I may end up building 2 ballistas.
You again.
I'm going to bring one of the rangers down here. I'm going to put one in this tower and one in this tower. And build a tower here. Build a tower here.
This better be good. My bow and arrows are ready. What?
Let's put her in here.
Oh, more orders.
Put her in here. Put her in here. And I know I keep saying, we're only going to do one more thing. We're only going to do one more thing. But we really only are going to do one more thing. And that's going to be start mining iron here. And that's what I like about this game. There's always one more thing to do. You know, there's never a moment where you're just sitting here waiting for something to happen. Oh, I don't have enough. That's fine. That's fine. We'll make another one. I'm gonna kind of run out of room here for houses. I'm gonna expand a little bit out this way, but I'm gonna have to start making a new housing area, which maybe I'll make it over here. Who knows?
Attention. Building completed.
So I'll build a quarry. I didn't really point it out here when I built this stone quarry. Just like all the other resources, you want to place it so you get as much iron as possible, as much of the deposit. So the most I can get out of this one is 3. So I'll put it here. And yeah, you can zoom all the way out and take a look at your village, which I think this looks pretty cool. I like the aesthetic of this game, the steampunk world, and everything's dark, but the places where you have your village and buildings and stuff just kind of glow. Tab, by the way, takes the UI away, which is a pretty cool thing. That can help you if you're like buried down in like the edge of the map down here, and you're getting the UI is blocking your view or something. So yeah, there's my village. I'm gonna save here, and we're gonna pick up with this same village in the next tutorial. I don't know when that will be or how far we'll get with it, but this is definitely the beginning of They Are Billions. Really, the next steps are just advancing past the woodworking phase. You'll start using stone a lot more, and then you start using iron a lot more, and eventually you'll get to a point where you're using oil, and that's like the end of the game. Most powerful units, most powerful buildings. That's also when the most powerful hordes of zombies attack your village. So it's, it just kind of ramps up that way. And the real learning curve here is figuring out when those waves of zombies are going to come and how to get your village prepared for that wave of those waves of zombies. And the way you do that is you start on the earliest difficulties and you work yourself up until you feel comfortable completing it on the most difficult level. But you don't even need to really compete on the most difficult level, because you can unlock everything there is to unlock here pretty early on. And the other thing is, as I said this before, this is in early access, so they're still adding a lot. They're updating pretty frequently, adding new units to it, bug fixes, stuff like that. And eventually they're going to add like a campaign to it, they say, and probably different kinds of modes. But right now this is all there is in the game. And it's pretty substantial, even though it is just a simple survival mode. So I hope this tutorial helped you out. If there's anything that you think would be good added to this, or something I may have missed, or any kind of feedback, just let me know in the comments, and I'll add that into future episodes or wherever it fits in. Alright, thanks, and we'll see you later.